Alright, this is an intro on how to do the monster. So just for practice, you're going to take the two files in the monster assignment, Celebrity and Voldemort, and then go ahead and open those up in Photoshop. And I'm going to make a new layer, and I'll call this one Nose, because it's going to be the nose of our celebrity. Then I'm going to come over here to the Voldemort, and I'm going to use the clone stamp. So there's the clone stamp. If you remember, the size of your brush is how much is going to be copied. And if I click Alt, the little target pops up, and I'll go ahead and I'll click once, and then let go. Okay. And you want to bring over too much. So you can see that his eyes are going to be there and his lips a little bit, but that's okay. Okay, so there it is. Make sure it's on its new layer, and I'll go ahead and I'll click. Okay, now it did come in a little large, so I can do Control T to maybe shrink it down a little bit. And that looks a little better. Then I'm going to create a layer mask, so right here. And then you take your paintbrush. Black is going to get rid of things. Hardness around 10% or so is good. And I'll use that to just go around the edges and kind of get rid of some of the stuff that I want. Okay, so I don't want her original nose to show through. I just want it to be the Voldemort nose. Okay, and you can see that I did kind of bring back, so I can just make it smaller, switch it to white, and there we go. Now the problem is that these don't look blended at all. So I'll start with her, and I'll just go ahead and create a hue saturation layer in between the two of them, and kind of mess around and see, what colors I can make her. Okay, so obviously the blue kind of blends pretty decently already. And then I can come up to the nose, and I can right click on this little thumbnail of the nose, and I can choose to select pixels. And if I select pixels, that selects everything that's the nose, and then I can apply hue and saturation to that one. And then you can see that I can kind of change the hue and saturation of the nose. I can't change it a lot because it's a kind of a grayish nose, so there's not a lot of colors to work with. However, I could adjust it at least a little bit. And you can go back and forth between these two. So if I just double click on this one, this little circle, for this hue and saturation, I can, once again decide, oh, okay. Another thing you can do with the nose, if you don't feel like it's getting the color that you need, is you can make a new layer. So let's just make this hue saturation disappear for a minute. Make a new layer. I'll call this nose color. And I'll set it to overlay, and you can also try color. So this is just using a lot of the tools that we've already learned. So I'll make it green, and paint with it. Obviously that does not blend, so I can change the opacity until maybe it does. Or I might need to just because I just painted with it, I could just use my eraser, or I could create a layer mask and just kind of use that to fade the edges a little. So you'll have to do a little bit of experimenting to see which one works, but you use hue and saturation, you use color overlays. I could also try color. Well, actually, I like that one better. It works a little better. And since that one's called color and I've got that, I can switch it back to white and maybe bring back a little more of that green. Okay, and that makes it look like her face is blended a little better. So when you look at the assignment, it needs to be a picture of you. Make sure that you're leaving some of your original face intact so we can kind of tell that it's your picture. You need to have at least 3 different pictures blended into your image. So stitches, an extra eye, a different mouth, a nose, adding horns, make skin colors match, choose a background image, make sure to save it as a JPEG. Here's the image size that it should start at, so when you go File New, make sure you do that. And then things are blended and look natural. So let me show you some examples real quick what students have done. So they did two things, so she missed points there. She also did not do a background. So, okay, here's one. That's the student's face. Gave herself the Voldemort nose, snake eyes, a hat, somebody else's body, so that's good. Another one. You can see that she added some, zombie kind of effects looking. The eyes aren't hers originally, neither is the mouth. She did not do a background though, so lost points there. Snake bracelet, snake skin, mouth, eyes. Getting rid of his arm, I'll count that as one thing, and then the face, so he did 2 out of the 3. So you can see these different examples. Here's one that I did. Added wings. This is the original avatar body. Changed my eye color, changed the skin color. Here's another one that I did. I used Liquify to kind of change my eye shape, give myself slightly pointy ears. Give myself a pointier kind of a witch nose. Then I added the stitches in the crown. Changed the color of my shirt. So you don't have to have the original picture there. I just have this original picture as reference. So you can kind of see the difference. And then of course one of my personal favorites is this one. So I used Clone Stamp to put a 3rd eye on my forehead. Used the Liquify tool to make my eyes bigger. Then of course I've got Voldemort's nose, an orc mouth from Lord of the Rings, Avatar girl's body, and there you go. So just make sure you check the rubric, and then once you're all done, you would file, save as, make sure it's a JPEG, and that's what you turn in. Okay? So have fun with it, be creative, and you're done.